What is up, challengers? Welcome to day 3. So good to see all of you here live. If you're watching live, post live. We give you points if you're live. So go ahead and post live. If you're watching replay and then you post live, we could also tell that you're lying. So don't do that. So good to see you guys here. Micah, I agree. This is a great group of people. Every day I wake up excited and just motivated to come in here and give you guys massive value. Brock, also right. If you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. Try to be here on time. My goal is to be here on time every single day so that the live goes on time. It's going to be a great day today. It's challenge day 3. We're going to talk about strategy, which is a great thing to talk about. And by the way, I just want you guys to know something. Some of you might be frustrated. Some of you might be overwhelmed with finding out your ACV and your CAC. Guess what? It's part of the challenge. It's okay. But at least your mind is starting to work like a marketer now. Now you're going to dive into the numbers. Now you're going to see what's going on. I just got a question that I have to answer. Is that a fake background? It's not. And the books are real and everything's real. Actually, something cool that a lot of people don't know is in my background, I have this. It's my father's wallet, his money clip, and his glasses. My father passed away 2.5 years ago. I keep this because he always provided for us. I keep this because he was a brilliant businessman and making money. And I keep this because of his wisdom and just his empathy towards people. So that's always in my background. So just in case you guys thought, some of my favorite books are back here. And then I've got a sign that says, behind every good kid is a great dad. And I agree with that. So it's not real brick. That's the one thing that's not. That is a massive poster, but we'll be getting in. I'll be remodeling here soon. So it's not real. It's a poster I bought off of Amazon, actually, just background. So thanks for asking those questions. Appreciate it. Again, if you're live, go ahead and write live so we know that you're here. Again, I just want to reiterate, if you're frustrated by the acquisition cost and the average customer value, it's perfectly fine. Our goal is to kind of make you uncomfortable. Our goal is to teach you to dive into your system, to think as a marketer, think differently, right? That's our goal here. So if you don't think you got the right number, that's fine. Just go back in this next week and see if you got the numbers right. Ask your software system. And I know Bravo is going to send me a link as well to how to get that. PawnMate sent me something. PawnMaster sent me something. If you're not on those 3 systems, I don't have that much connection with the others. I should, and I will, but I promise you that. All right. So thanks, Ford, for being here. Richard, thanks for being here. Sarah, Edwin, Jeanette, Laura, Gina, Golden Jor, Jose, Elise, Brian, Jonathan Blatter's in the house. Tiger Luke, Abigail, Crystal, Tanya, Scott. If I miss your name, I'm sorry. James, Leadership. Good name. I like that. Gail's here. Chase, Steve, Mike, Elise, Elizabeth, Dave. Do me a favor. If you're having fun on these calls, write fun in the chat box for me. I want to make sure that I'm giving you value, but you're also having a good time. That's the most important part. And by the way, I want to commend those of you who are working together, answering questions, helping each other out. That's what this group is all about, is actually helping you grow your pawn shop, right? We are helping each other become more pawn leader minded. We'll talk about that in a second. So awesome. Thank you. If you're having fun, write fun in the chat box. I love it. Good to see. Appreciate you all. And hopefully this is motivating and inspiring you to become a better pawn broker and rise up to the pawn leader, to become a better entrepreneur, to become a better marketer. That's my goal, is to motivate and inspire you. This is what I do as a coach, right? I don't consider myself a consultant. I don't go to your store and sit with you day in and day out. My goal is to motivate and inspire you week after week after week so that you become the best you that you can possibly be. That's my goal. Cool. So we've got the handout that we're about to give to you. Charlotte, I will do this. I don't know why. I forgot about this. Thank you, Charlotte. You can download today's handout here. Charlotte, you need to go up and click on that StreamYard link so we can see your name. Go ahead and download the link there. And awesome. Bill, I love that. Like a pig in mud. Thank you. Love it. All right. I'm glad you guys are having fun. All right. If you're ready to rock, write and rock in the chat box for me. Let's rock and roll. Let's do this. This is day 3. We're going to make it happen. Right? Cool. So, as we do this, there you go. If you can see my screen, perfect. I'm having some technical difficulties today. Give me 1 second. There we go. There it is. My apologies. Okay, cool. Right. If you're ready to rock, write rock in the chat box, and let's rock on day 3 here in the Grow Your Pawn Shop 5-day challenge. All right. So our goal is to take you in these 5 days to at least think like a pawn leader, right? Think like a entrepreneur, not just be a technician, a pawnbroker who's giving money for items and items for money, but actually think like a leader, a marketer, strategist, and take it to that next level, right? That's our goal here. And it takes time to become a pawn leader. Not gonna lie to you. Those who have been me in the mastermind know that it takes time for the popcorn to pop, for you to come out and become a true leader in your business. But I want to start you off, right? James says, this is way better than I expected. Funny, offensive, vintage advertising. I don't have control over my keyboard. That's awesome. That's what I want. That's who I am, right? That's what EPIC stands for. It stands for funny, offensive, vintage, and to give you as much value as possible. So, again, we're trying to take you away from the old school pawnbroker humping the counter, right? We don't want you to do that. We want you to become a pawn leader so that your business grows and you have more freedom in your life to spend with your family, fishing, hunting. Do me a favor in the chat box. If you had more freedom, what would you spend that time to do? Let me know. I want to know what that is. If you had more freedom, what would you spend that time to do? Is it spend time with family, fishing, vacation, hunting? We've got some weird people in here. That's perfectly fine. There's no judgment, right? So we got family, traveling, sailing. Love that. So as you're watching this, let me know, what would you spend time? Finish planning my wedding. Yes, you should probably do that. Creating, camping with the fam, golfing, travel with family. So imagine your business makes more money and you have more freedom to do what you love. That's my goal in motivating you to become a pawn leader, right? Spend more time with the grandbaby. Yeah. Love that. Water and beer. I'll take that. As long as you hydrate, I guess that's the water and beer. Or is it like being on the water and beer? All right. Great. Run a marathon. Awesome. Beach. Telling other people what they are doing wrong. Of course. Everyone's really good at that. Telling other people what they do wrong. Yeah. All right. So let's rock and roll. So just a quick review. I know some of you got confused. Customer acquisition cost is how much you spend in your marketing. That's your total marketing, plus the number of new customers in that time frame that you're doing the report for. That's a new customer who walks in, okay, and does a transaction of some sort, okay? Average customer value, gross revenue, the dollars that came in, right? Some of you say like, hey, is that my interest plus my sales? Yeah, it's your interest plus your sales plus your layaways plus your repairs maybe, right? Divided by the number of active customers during that time frame. That will give you your average customer value. Some of you have incredible customer values. Some of you's acquisition costs are extremely low, which basically said, great, we're doing good, but how much more can we do, right? And just a warning, by the way, I've gotten some DMs while I'm doing this and some text messages. I concentrate and focus on this. So if you're trying to send me a DM, I'm not checking it until a couple of hours afterward, all right? So some of you, again, had very, very low customer acquisition costs. I'm not telling you to go spend a ton of money. Maybe just double down on what you're doing. If referrals is the way, double down on referrals. If community is the way, double down on community. If you've never done ads, test it, see what happens. And then the average customer value, our goal was, how can we grow that average customer value? For somebody who had $190 customer value, how can we make that $210, right? Those $20 per customer is going to be a big, big value at the end of the year. Also, one thing I forgot to mention yesterday is that when a customer walks in and buys a dollar DVD, we no longer see them as a dollar, right? We see them as average customer value. They're a much bigger number now, right? And our goal is to get them to keep coming back. And that's why the marketing is so important, okay? So for those of you, again, who shared what you want to do with your free time. My goal in all the trainings I do is to get you more free time. Okay. So the agenda, the welcome, we're going to do the prize and the points recap. We'll talk about the top challenges. We had somebody move up in the game. We're going to talk about two things: know the game, weak spots, do the work, and then we'll jump on the VIP call. All right. So prizes and how to win. The grand prize winner wins a pawnbroker toolkit valued at $5,000. Bluestone bucks worth $500. 10 Jaggy certificates worth $395, and M&M gift certificate worth $250. So for those of you who are commenting on other people, liking, engaging, doing the work, inviting other pawnbrokers, that's how you win. We keep tally of everything that you're doing here, right? It's driving my team crazy, but it's what we do. So if you join live, those are extra points. Sponsors, thank you to Jaggy, M&M, and Bluestone Trading for giving us that amazing value to you guys. Okay. Top challengers: Scott Nell, Crystal Lucero, Brock Jewell, Jay Ford Sunderland, Tiger Luke, and Elizabeth American. By the way, Ford has taken the #1 spot. He's at #1 at the moment. He knocked Scott Nell off the #1 spot about 30 minutes ago. But there's still 2 more days. You guys still have this. For those of you who are not on this list, by the way, everyone's very, very close. You guys are doing the work. You guys are showing up. You guys are motivated, engaging, helping each other out. That is the goal. All right. So Scott and Ford, you guys are like neck and neck. Get on it, my friends. Get on it. So with that said, the Pawn Profit Pillars, Leadership Marketing Strategy in the Epic Experience. That's the book I wrote. This is the framework that we're going to teach you guys in order to be able to grow your stores. That's what we've taught over 350 plus pawn shops, and we've seen the incredible success that they've had. Okay. All right. So today we're going to talk about strategy and how to attract that money. We want to become a money magnet, right? And it's not just about becoming a money magnet. It's also about knowing how to play the game. And there's something called money mindset. And a lot of pawnbrokers don't have the money mindset to know how to actually play the game. And the game in entrepreneurship, the game in being a business leader, isn't just being a great pawnbroker. I'm very, very sorry. You might be the best pawnbroker in the world. My father was one of the best pawnbrokers in the world, but he didn't know his numbers. That's just the truth. He knew what was coming in. He knew what was going out, but he didn't know how to dive into his true metrics. And so I speak with pawnbrokers all the time who I'll ask questions like, hey, what was your P&L? What was your profit this month? Oh, I don't know yet. My bookkeeper's got to give it back to me. Great. What was your yield? I don't know yet. What was my inventory turn? I have no idea. Right. And the whole point of being a great coach, right, to your team, to your business, is you have to know the game. Every great coach, I don't care what sport that you love, football, baseball, basketball, running marathons, jujitsu, every coach knows the game. They know the plays. They know the calls. They know what's going on. They know what the other team is thinking. They've studied exactly what's going on. For you to be able to win in this game of entrepreneurship and leadership, you have to know the game. You've got to know your numbers. And unfortunately, this game of pawnbroking is one where numbers and metrics aren't really shown to us. A lot of times managers become owners, right? They buy out the person or it gets handed down to them and they don't know the numbers because leadership has just kept it quiet. Sometimes kids who take over the business don't know the numbers. And I'm not just talking about, pawn metrics per se. I'm talking about like business metrics, like how to read a profit and loss, how to read your balance sheet, how to make moves when you can look at your numbers on a week-to-week basis and know that, I can make this investment. We've got to hold back at the moment. Let's try this. And this came to me. I paid a guy, $5,000 to sit in a training with him. And the first thing he taught me was that he said, Yigal, every morning I wake up and I get my CEO report on my desk. And my CEO report says, what did we sell? What was our expenses? What did we make? What moves do we need to make? And when I saw that, it opened up my mind, right? We brought in Mike Michalowicz to the mastermind to speak, and he did a podcast episode. He wrote the book. He wrote lots of books. But he talks about like strategy and knowing your numbers and to be able to know the game so well that you can take vacations because you know exactly what's going on in your business, right? Like for example, who here watches Shark Tank? If you watch Shark Tank, write shark in the chat box. What are the first questions that the Shark Tank asks? What are your numbers? Your acquisition cost? What's your profitability? Right? What are your projections for the end of the year? And they base their investments based on how much knowledge this entrepreneur has in their business. And if the entrepreneur doesn't have that knowledge, what happens? What does Mr. Wonderful say? He says, "Hey, I'm going to take you out behind the barn. I'm going to shoot you like the cockroach that you are." Like that's how vulgar he is because he believes, and though everybody believes that a great entrepreneur, a great business leader knows their numbers back and forth. And so my goal in this strategy section is to teach you guys that there's a lot of numbers that you need to know, and we can't go over all of them, obviously, in the next 15 minutes. But your goal is to focus on like, hey, I've never really looked at my P&L. I don't know what percentage of my expenses are my employees. I've never looked at my balance sheet. I don't know what's going on with that. So again, there's no judgment here. Scale of 1 to 10. 10, we've got some ninjas in here. You know exactly what's happening. 1, you're scared to look at your numbers. You don't even know where to start. How well do you know your numbers? How well do you know the game of business ownership, not pawnbroking, right? This is business ownership and business leadership. So scale of 1 to 10, how well do you know your numbers? Again, there's absolutely no judgment. You are here for a reason. Dave says 10. We have a 1, 8, 6, 7, 7, 8. Type those things in fast, right? 2, 7.5, 1, 8, right? So we've got some ninjas in here who know things very, very well. Some people who are kind of novice, and that's fine. We're going to help each other in this game. That's what community is all about. 3, 5, 6.5, 4. Exactly. So our goal as business owners and leaders is to know the game. Again, not just how to have a pawn shop, because there's a lot of people in this who are entrepreneurs who have different businesses, right? There's somebody in here who opened up gyms, somebody who opened up a wedding venue, somebody opened up like different businesses. And if you don't know how to learn business, you can't take the money that you make here in pawnbroking and invest it into different businesses and then know the game. So 3, 2, right? 1, and my owner doesn't share this info even after 25 years. Let me know your location. I'm going to fly to the owner, give them a couple of smacks across the face, have them listen to the podcast, read the book, or send me their birthday. I'll send them the book so they can know how important this is, right? Lisa says the monthly worksheet for Masterminds was a game changer. Yeah. So my goal was to build these valuable tactics and tools for you so that you can start looking at this day in and day out and start getting uncomfortable. Who here is uncomfortable with numbers? If that's the case, right? Yes. And that's fine. We're all uncomfortable at something, right? I'm not the best organizer. I'm going to be frank and transparent with you. SWOT analysis, Brock, weakness, organization. Right. But guess what? I have an assistant here. I've got Charlotte and Rose who help me organize. I've built a team to help me organize. Right. So I know my weaknesses and I bring on people who can complement my weaknesses to be able to, grow my business. Okay. So for example, what I want you guys to do for tomorrow is understand, first of all, numbers don't lie. Right? These are charts with a pawnbroker that we worked with, what we do with net profit dollars, inventory turn, sales volume. So we took their net profit dollars from 34,000, in 3 months to 123,000, inventory turn from a 1 to a 2.65. We'll be talking about inventory turn, sales volume from 148,000 to 333,000 in 3 months. From implementing the strategies that you guys are learning, obviously more in depth, but changing their mind from pawnbroker to pawn leader. Okay. This is what we did. Strategy versus tactics. Bill, for me, what that means is strategy is the vision. What's the strategy? The tactics is what we're going to implement to accomplish the strategy. That's the difference for me. All right. So numbers don't lie. And understand that here in business, it's facts over feelings. I had a pawnbroker show up to Pawn Leaders 100 and say, Yigal, my business is going great. I'm like, cool. Let me see your numbers. Looked at the numbers and we're like, you're 6 months away from closing. You're not making enough money. You've got too many people on the team. Your your cost per transaction is way too high. What's happening here? And as we dove deep into this, and we have specialists who helped us out with this, he's like, holy crap, changed the way he did business. Now that pawnbroker goes on vacation, takes days off, things are running smoothly, making money because they shifted that mindset. So for us, it's facts over feelings. I don't want you to think about what you I think we're doing this. I want you to know what you're doing. Because by the way, that's going to bring down the stress and the overwhelm. That's going to bring down the noise. It's going to give massive clarity, which is what you need to be able to make moves, right? If you're going to make an investment in something, you've got to know what you can or can't do. That's just the truth. Okay. Love it. So, what I want you guys to do is I just kind of want you to look at, and I'll talk about the challenge. Look at where you were last year. So let's do this real quick. Who here, if you have budgets and goals set for this year, for the next month, something, if you have something set, write goals in the chat box for me so I know. Okay, even if they're loose goals, that's fine. If you don't, just write no. Again, absolutely zero judgment. You're here. It's the perfect time. The universe had you see what I was doing and brought you here this week, right? We got no goals. We got goals. Perfect. We got goals. So wherever you are, that's perfectly fine. Okay, we've got some loose goals. I know people have like loose goals. I think, I know, I might, I want to. I think so. What I want you guys to do is just look at where you were last year, right? What did you pawn in this quarter last year? What did you sell? What did you lay away? What did you make an interest? And I want you to, we've got these two bubbles. The first circle is where we are, right? The higher circle is where do you want to go? Out of 5, 10% increase. What's that goal? And the middle is what's the gap? Okay. And this is just an easy way. And we have some more worksheets, by the way, to look at budgets and goals and KPIs, all those types of things. One thing that you might look at, and some people don't have, is what does it cost me to run the business? Just that number. We call it the nut, not to be disrespectful, right? It's called a monthly nut. What does it cost to run the business? And then we set goals from there. Because sometimes people set goals. We set goals for a pawn shop 2 months ago where they set some goals. I'm like, guys, it's not enough. You need to increase your inventory turn. You have to increase your goals because you don't have enough cash flow coming in to support your pawn growth, right? So there's numbers that we look at in metrics. Is how much am I growing in my pawns, my pawn balance? If I'm growing $100,000 a month and I'm not creating that cash has to come from somewhere, right? I either have to borrow, beg, steal, like whatever that is. But if those goals aren't set forth, you are going to be building a house of cards, right? So we've got goals, need help setting reasonable goals for new operation, growing loan balance, customer base. Gotcha. We have goals every month. We have a monthly growth board that's updated regularly where everyone gets to see and interact with it. Awesome, right? So my goal right now, if you have zero goals at the moment, is just figure out what are my costs? What is this business costing me every single month, right? And then what we're going to talk about today is you got to know the drill, right? So we talk about tactics versus strategies. You've got to know the game. You guys are great pawnbrokers, but you also have to know the drill and how you're going to get to those numbers. And Jeff Willem, who's in this group, talks about behaviors, right? He studied behavior, and it's all about our behaviors. And I agree with him 100%. If we don't have the right behaviors, we cannot achieve the goals. If we don't hold our team accountable, if we're not strategizing, if we're not seeing and knowing and giving clarity on who needs to do what, we can't hit those goals. So for an example of that, let's talk about inventory turn ratio. Just a simple number that is very, very important. Some of you might consider other numbers important. Some of you might not consider this important, but inventory turn ratio is how quickly you're turning your inventory, which brings you more cash flow, which allows you to pawn more, having your money without having to borrow. Okay. So how do we get inventory turn ratio? By the way, the average pawn shop that I've spoken to, their inventory turn ratio is below a 1, which basically means it takes them more than a year to turn their inventory, which is a very, very slow process. Okay. So just as an example, Epic Pawn, that's what we're going to call the pawn shop, has a cost of goods sold for $1 million for the current year. The company's cost of beginning inventory at the beginning of the year was $600,000, and the cost of ending inventory was $400,000. Given the inventory balances, the average cost of inventory during the year is calculated at $500,000. How do we do that? Add 600 plus 400 divided by 2, right? That's the average. As a result, inventory turn is 2. So they turn their inventory 2 times a year, right? So I want you to figure out what your inventory turn ratio is. If you're new, if you're old, whatever that is. If you know it, awesome. Crystal says, I think ours is 0.8, which means that you're taking 18 months to turn your inventory, right? So we take the cost of goods sold divided by the average inventory during that time period, and we get our inventory turn ratio. By the way, some of your software systems have that report, but I want you to do it by hand. Go to your P&L, go to your system, cost of goods sold. What was my average inventory? Do the math yourself and see if it matches. Okay. Why inventory turn? Again, there's a lot of metric points that are very, very important to pawnbrokers, but I see this one come up extensively as being ridiculously low, right? And our goal is to improve something every single day here. So with that said, I want you to think about where your expenses are. What does it cost you to run your business? I want you to know the drill. What are 2 or 3 things that you can change? And we'll talk about this in a bit. Okay. And then just give me your inventory turn ratio. Let's figure that out. Okay. If this makes sense to everybody, say yes. It's really important for me to understand. And by the way, we've got 30 minutes together. There's a lot of metrics that you need to know, and not just pawn metrics, right? Again, your P&Ls. How well versed are you at looking at your P&Ls, at your balance sheets, knowing what the business is doing? Okay, cool. So Abigail says 0.18 for 6 weeks. Okay, you're brand new, Abigail. I get that. So Chase is about a 1.9. Awesome. How do we get that to a 3? Right, that's our goal. So this is Nick Fulton. I'm going to brag on myself a little bit. He just won the Pawnbroker of the Year. I worked with him one-on-one for a while. And when we worked with him, just implementing these strategies that we talked to you guys about made him have the biggest sales month in 30 years. He was part of the mastermind. Again, worked with him one-on-one. And it's because he became a pawn leader. It's because he was like, I'm done living this life of a pawnbroker, humping the counter, not having a life, not being healthy, lost 30 pounds, is yoked right now. Just when you see Nick Fulton in person, he's traveling, the business is set course, and is doing very, very well. So you can do the inventory turn for whatever you feel like. I think a bigger inventory turn is better, right? Like the last 6 months, maybe year to date, you can do that. Let's work on that. And maybe compare it to last year, see what comes up with that. So do the work for this challenge. Identify your inventory turn. Okay. What's that number? And I also want you to think, what are 3 action items that you can do to improve it? Is that sales training? Is that pulling merchandise quicker, cleaning it, going online? Is that finding out? Whatever those is, I want you to just write 3 action items that you can do to improve your inventory turn. Again, tons of other metrics out there. I want to concentrate just on one. Let's take action and focus on one of them. There might be some that are more important, some less important, but this is the one I chose, and you're stuck with me for another 2 days. So this is what you get. For you ninjas who know this information, right? I want you to dive deeper. Ask your team, what are we not doing? What do you need so we can improve this number? What behaviors are we not consistent at to make this happen, right? Laura says, biggest problem is turning the merchandise quick. We try to push through Facebook mainly. We are stocked on game systems. Yeah, so it's finding a different outlet. It really, really is. There's different outlets out there, auctions, Facebook, eBay, Marketplace, OfferUp, doing massive sales, sending emails, text message blasts. There's tons that you can do to have that. Do you have any advice on sales training? Yeah, a really easy one is like Friedman U. We've partnered with them. There's also, who's the guy in the industry? If somebody can write his name down in the chat box, who's done lots of training for industry people. So Friedman U has like online courses. You can, YouTube stuff, but what's the guy's name? Brad Houston, thank you so much. Thanks, Ford. Brad Houston has sales training. Excuse me. By the way, VIPers, give us a couple minutes. And just think about what they need. If ask them, do you need more sales training? On a scale of 1 to 10, how well do you think you sell? During the pandemic, everyone thought they were the amazing at sales. I'm like, no, everyone just has money. And they're walking and buying everything off your shelves. It was like, oh, my sales, I'm so good at that. That's not the case. Okay. Yeah. So people saying Facebook Marketplace, Facebook Stories, retail sales made easy by Ron Martin. Lots of sales training. So if you guys want to post that in the Facebook group, that'd be amazing. I know, again, Friedman U is awesome. I know Brad Houston's great. There's retail sales made easy. There's like a guy who does retail sales. Kappa's bringing a speaker, Jeffrey Gitomer. Jeffrey Gitomer has a course on retail sales. He's also very, very good. So yeah, so need to work on selling better. Yeah, people don't buy from companies. They buy from people they trust 100%. Need to work on employees. So you already know what you need to do, right? It's already like got your mind turning to get it done. So with that said, if this 30 minutes was of value to you, right? Value. Again, I want you to study business. I want you to become pawn leaders, not just pawn brokers. You've mastered that, I'm sure, right? So awesome. So Brad has been to my stores. Going to start FB Live. Love that. Let's go. So if this has added value, VIPers will see you in the VIP chat. Give me a minute and I'll see you guys there. If my team could send me the link once again, please. The link is in your guys' emails as well. Thank you so much for being here. Tomorrow, we're talking about epic experience. It's an incredible 30 minutes, value packed. If you have any other questions, please put in the Facebook group. Stay safe, stay healthy. Love you all. And you should be very proud that you've stuck with me for this long. I promise in the next 2 days, we're just going to keep growing, keep working together, keep adding value to grow your pawn shop so you can have more money and more freedom. Love you all. Stay safe. We'll talk soon, all right? And do the work.